Good morning. My name is Angelina Carleton. Welcome back to another series on our legacy conversations. This morning, I have the pleasure of introducing Will George, a dear friend as well as an associate. He is a 42-year-old self-made entrepreneur. He's also the founder and chief executive officer of Buck and Bass, a fishing and hunting technical outerwear brand that was created in 2015. Buck and Bass is the industry leader for technical outerwear that is currently focused on the bass fishing market. Welcome, Will.
Hey, how are you?
Good, good. Thank you so much for joining.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
Yes. So one of the reasons why I wanted to have this legacy conversation is to bring another perspective or a storyline to what is possible with entrepreneurs today, but also when 2/3 of the affluent are self-made, I wanted to bring more real life stories of positive role models forward because not everybody starts, with something given to them. Sometimes it comes by
Yep.
way of inspiration. Sometimes it comes by way of sweat equity. So I thought
Yeah.
that maybe we could start at the beginning. And would you let me know, first of all, the inspiration for Buck and Bass?
Yeah. So it started in, this started in, it started basically back at the beginning when I'm originally born and raised in Wyoming
Yes.
and grew up hunting and fishing. So my love for the outdoors started at by the time I could walk. So, that's essentially where it started. Yet skip ahead, a lot of years. I was watching a professional bass fishing tournament in 2015, and these guys are at the highest level of the sport,
Right.
and got the best trucks, boats, rods, reels, electronics, all this best equipment. Yet they were complaining about being wet, and that made no sense to me whatsoever. So I thought, okay, I got to look into this. So this is in 2015. I asked a couple of friends what was the best rain suit at that time. And they told me what it was, and I went out and bought one. And I went on a fishing trip, and within 45 minutes of this brand new suit that I just bought, I was soaking wet. My sleeves were wet, my hood didn't work, everything. It just didn't work. So at that point, I said, okay, I have no idea about technical apparel.
Yes.
I have zero idea, but I have the belief and self-confidence in myself to say we're going to fix this. And that's what we did. So the first thing we started putting together a team, and that was in 2000. November of 2015, it was Thanksgiving Day, actually. I was listening to a group called Alabama.
Yes.
And they have a song called Dixieland Delight. And I actually was listening to that when I drew the logo that's here.
Yes, yes. And I just wanted to interrupt for a moment to say that
Yep.
So bass fishing is as huge as NASCAR across not just the United States, but across the globe, this world.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
Yes. And it's quite a niche. Like it's competitive
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
people, yes. And they have to pay huge registration fees and they're out in the water with their boats that are like $1 million. And it's quite, it's
Well,
culture.
I tell people all the time, it's like NASCAR on the water.
Yes.
You've got guys are running down the road with their truck, the boat, electronics. You're looking at $150,000+ worth of equipment right there.
Right.
So I came up with the name, drew the logo, and that was in November of 15. And then in 16, I started putting the team together, and we just started going from there. And we actually spent about 3+ years in development, coming up with the material and doing everything from scratch. We created this from the ground up. And then we launched in December of 19. And now we're here.
Yes. And I hope that provides inspiration for any of the rising generation members that are watching this or listening to this, that at this opportune time in history, some people can be, filled with, sorrow and self-pity given the world events, or they can go out and start a company and build the company and build teams and look to solve problems. And so I just want to reiterate again that you were out there and you were looking at the professionals and and asking yourself, why are they getting wet? They've got the best
Yep.
technical equipment, but for outerwear, it's just not there. And one of the questions I even had is, how come the competitors aren't coming forward? And maybe that's a cost prohibitive thing, but I think you've brought a higher level of respect to the professional bass fishers that are out there. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I would say to me, they always, everything about them was professional. They're amazing, and I've never competed in a bass fishing tournament. I'm not that good. I never have, and I never will. I'm just not that good. Yet watching those guys and being a fan, a huge fan of the sport, I absolutely love it. To me, they didn't look good on like what they were wearing. That's bottom line. Everything else about their boats, their boats look awesome. Their trucks, their rods, their reels, their electronics, everything looks great. And then yet what they were wearing for their technical outerwear, they looked bad.
Yeah.
And,
I
and
was
to
just,
me,
go
yeah,
ahead.
so that's what that was one of my things. As I said, we're gonna get these guys the professional grade gear that they deserve and that they should be wearing, number one, and number two, why can't we make them look good at the same time? And that's what we're doing.
Yeah, the reason I laughed for a moment is because you're bringing California to them.
Yeah,
Yeah, when you
giving
were
them,
out here, yeah,
yeah,
decades ago. Yeah,
yeah, giving them, trying to give them some style. So
yeah, yeah. And so, and I also want to bring up that it's a premium brand and a premium
yep,
product. So again, you're bringing a higher level of respect to these professionals, but also, you know, and this is something that I even thought 2 decades ago, you're going to innovate an industry, and here you are, and you're doing exactly that.
yeah, that's never. Uh, I don't think that's ever been a priority. I never set out to do that necessarily. I just wanted to be. I want to create the best product and be the best and win at whatever I do. And when we started this, it was more like, okay, it was very fundamental in the sense where these guys are wet. Let's keep them dry.
Yeah.
And then simultaneously let's crush the competition, because I saw everything that else that's out there, and it's just pathetic. And I just absolutely wanted to crush them. So
Yeah, and we're going to get into some of the more personal questions in a moment, but I just wanted to highlight the zippers are like NASA type zippers, and there's the ironclad inspiration from the Japanese movies that you liked growing
yeah.
up. So would you just speak upon that quickly?
Yeah, so we have our zippers that we use on our jacket bibs. It's called a T-zip Master Seal zipper. That's actually the same zipper that NASA uses on the Mars rover. Then we have next to that, then we have our iron shell material. That's where you're seeing that ironclad guarantee. That's our material. It's our proprietary material that we created on our rain suit, jacket, and bibs. And it's a revolutionary material. And we solved a huge fundamental issue that all the other brands were missing on the waterproof. And it's amazing.
Yes, yes. And I also wanted to bring up something that I learned, because I myself am not necessarily a pro angler.
Yeah.
The 40,000 WCR, which stands for water column rating, you know, you
Yep.
figured out how to create a material that didn't stick to them, kept them dry, and
Yep.
exceeded the other products out in the market. And so when there is a pro angler competing and they have to finish the competition early because they're wet, they're tired, or their equipment is failing them, including their
Yep.
outerwear, you've just
Yep.
now enabled them, empowered them.
Yeah, we were able to keep these guys out on the water in the worst conditions, because the bass fishing tournaments, the only time a bass fishing tournament really gets called off or postponed when they're on the water is lightning. That's really time. But I mean, these guys are in. I've seen rainstorms that are just torrential, like hurricane level rainstorms that these guys are out in, and they've paid so much money for their entry fees, all this work to get there. And I've seen so many of them before us, and still there's people out there that aren't wearing our product.
Right.
And their day is shot before before 10 a.m. because they're wet, they're cold, they're miserable, and they're
They're
thinking about
shaking.
everything. Yeah, they're shaking. They're thinking about everything else other than
Right.
fishing, doing their. And to me, that's like starting a marathon, running the entire race, and then tripping about a mile before you get to the finish line because you didn't tie your shoes at the starting line.
Yeah. Yeah. So
So
this is awesome. So congrats to you for bringing this to market. And yeah, and I think it's just it's absolutely lovely. Is there anything else you'd like to touch upon regarding your premium product?
it's something that in this market, in market in general, you hear so many times products saying, 100% waterproof, 100% waterproof, and that term is a very liberal term in how it's used, in the sense where it just gets thrown around. So like, oh, it's waterproof. And it's like, well, I'm wet. So how is that waterproof? There's no governing body per se to
Yeah.
cross check anyone. And that is something where the anglers in this market that that are using our product, they really experience that after using our product, is saying, oh, wait a second, now I understand the difference between what you have and what they have, and now I understand.
Yeah. I know that in one of your conversations, you had said that, your idea of dry and their idea of dry
Yeah.
with the competitors are two totally different things. Okay.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So have you always been a self-starter and a go-getter?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's matter of fact. Okay. All right. Was there any driving force in your upbringing that inspired you, or whether it was like positive or negative? Was it rebellion, or like I mean, you're a CEO. So a lot of the times chief executive officers are very driven personalities. I mean, obviously they're very busy. But they are the visionary going forward.
So that's an interesting question, in the sense where I don't have, like, I'm an only child. Um, I'm hyper competitive, and I don't have brothers or sisters, obviously being an only child. Neither of my parents are competitive at all, like not in any way, shape, or form. So I don't know where it came. I mean, I've been this way since I was in T-ball at 5 years old. Um,
Yeah.
so it's just been like, I'm insanely driven,
Okay.
super motivated. Um, I want to win, and that's it.
Yeah.
Wakes me up every morning is my drive and desire to win, and to win at all costs, no matter what it takes. And that's just, I don't have a direct answer for you to link it back to anything, saying like, oh, this event happened that led me to this, or anything like this. I've been this way since as early as can start. And like I said, none of my parents are this way. I didn't have any sibling rivalry, nothing like that. I've just always been like this.
Yeah. Well, you have an incredible work ethic. And I even remember that 20 years ago. Like
Yeah.
your day planner was meticulous, like when you were out
Yeah.
there doing sales. And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, I give it everything I got, and I want to win, and whatever that takes. And that's just who I am.
Okay. Okay. Has there been any influences that have, in terms of like the subject of legacy, has there been anybody that has crossed your paths, let's say even in the last 20 years, that may have inspired you to reach for more, or you thought, wow, they set a really good example?
Not, I can't put my finger on one person.
Okay.
I can say I've seen examples of people that I know, that no matter how hard I'm working at a certain time or point, when I'm thinking like, okay, I'm doing this, there's been a few people that look and go, okay, they're might be in a different field or something, but no matter how much work or output I believe that I am doing, they're doing 5 times that amount. So I need to raise my game, my level. There's one person in particular I'm thinking of. He's a lawyer that I know, highly successful he's at the top of his field. He's like, top 5 in his field. And I mean, there'll be times where I'm thinking like, oh yeah, I'm working my butt off, I'm doing this, and then I get a call from him at like 2 a.m. or an email from him, and it's like, oh, I've been working for 3 days straight. And it's like, oh yeah, Will, like, okay, you need to, no matter how hard like, someone will always can beat you, right? So don't let anybody,
the standard
don't
of
let,
excellence.
like, there's somebody out there that always can be better than you necessarily, and there's things that you don't have control of. Just don't let them outwork you. Just like, you have control of that.
Yeah, I remember one of the things that we had talked about 20 years ago was last man standing or last woman standing.
Yeah.
In terms of
like,
staying power. Yes.
Yeah. This is a quote from Babe Ruth. I'm not taking credit for it. Babe Ruth, one of the greatest baseball players of all time, said, you can't, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, but he said, you can't beat somebody that never quits. And I don't know if I have wording of that correct, but in general terms, he's saying you can't beat somebody that never quits. And I've always taken that philosophy. Like, you want me to quit, you're gonna have to kill me.
I love it. Awesome. Great stuff. So on the subject of legacy,
Yep.
How do you personally define legacy? I know what the dictionary says, but for
Yep.
you, what does it mean?
Well, for me personally, my personal attitude on things is, I just want to be known as somebody who won and did whatever it took to won at all cost, and was able to do what others said wasn't able to be done.
Like breaking the 4-minute mile or something.
Yeah. I mean, well, because there's been a ton of the billion clothing companies, technical outerwear companies, all those things. Yet, when it's one of the hardest things, when we started this, I can't tell you how many people, I mean, even still now, like, people every day, oh, it's not gonna make it, it's not gonna this or that. Like, people are always constantly telling you, it's like, all right, good, keep telling me that.
Like, oh, you're talking about the naysayers. Are you talking about the naysayers?
Oh,
yeah. Throwing shade.
Like, keep it up. It's
because it's just motivating you further.
Oh yeah, it's like,
yeah.
I don't care if they're on my side or not, but it's just like, I want to be known as somebody who is able to do what others weren't able to accomplish.
Yeah, and I think one of the things, and you've brought this up before, the reason that some of the naysayers are throwing shade, as they would say in slang terms, is because the product might be outside of their, financial budget. And so I think that, when they don't feel good about themselves, that jealousy can kick in. And so, yeah.
Well, so one of my company philosophies is, you will never find anybody. We're a direct-to-consumer business. We sell, all of our products online predominantly. We do some events and everything like that in person, but most of our product is sold direct-to-consumer on our website. You will never find one negative comment about our product. I don't care if somebody says they don't like me. I don't care if somebody says that maybe, like shipping. Well, once I ship something that's out of my hands, it's in UPS's hands or whoever.
Right.
That sometimes things are late. It happens.
Right.
Somebody can say anything they want about anything else, but they can complain about the price. They can complain. Like I said, they can talk about how they don't like me. I don't care, but you will never anybody say anything negative about the product that has the product. Bottom line.
Yeah. And I think it's also lovely that you extend that lifetime warranty. Yes.
Yeah. Well, you get, you
get what you pay for.
Yeah, 100%. I always put myself in someone else's shoes. When I bought that suit back in 2015, that other brand suit, and I wasn't at that point, I wasn't upset that it failed necessarily. I was upset that the tag said that it was going to do X, Y, and Z, and it didn't even do A, B, and C.
In the business promise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the price I pay. Then you start complaining about the price because, hey, I paid X and it didn't even deliver any of what it said on this hang tag. Then there's a problem. And that was my, like I said, you'll never see anybody complain about our product who has the product.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm sure that any time there was a designer that first started out, whether it was Ralph Lauren or, anyone,
Yeah.
people can test them. And as
Yeah.
they rise in success, they're going to be tested more and more and more. And you're right, it
Yep.
is there. There is an aspect that it is a mental game of fortitude, of
Yeah.
toughness, of being very laser focused regarding, those people are going to pass me by, and those people, and they might try and tear me down, like
Yeah.
crabs in the bucket. And yet, right? I mean,
Yeah.
anyone who is successful has experienced both the support of what comes with success, but also sometimes people can betray, and that betrayal might just be an online comment or somebody who is envious. Why do you have that and I don't have it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's all, uh, it's always, as long as you, I believe, as you're focused on a target, then anything that might be coming in just bounces off.
Yeah. Yeah. Wonderful. So, speaking of business lessons, are there any specific things that are worthy to share right now, whether it's life lessons that you've come across? Because I see you very much as a self made success who's worked very hard on himself.
Yeah.
When it comes to personal development, like you're very honest with yourself. So it's
Yep.
not like there's no precious lies you're protecting. It's
No.
like you're honest, and you're doing the hard work and the inner work. And
I would say having a higher level of self-awareness. Um, like just having a higher level of self-awareness, understanding that everything about how you're working, how your output is, how you're conducting yourself with others, how they may perceive you, how you know um physically how you are. It's every, I think, just self-awareness as a whole, as in general, um is probably the thing that has helped me personally over the years, starting from 20, 21, or what have you, till to now, just that development, and going along in that way. So here, hold on one second. Someone's trying to come in my office. Hold on a second.
okay.
So um yeah, so that would be the thing for me. It's just that self-awareness of of really just keeping yourself accountable, holding yourself accountable, being self-aware, not lying to yourself, being like, oh, I'm working hard, I'm doing great, and like you're saying that to yourself while you're on vacation. I'm not saying you shouldn't enjoy life. I enjoy life immensely, yet you just have to be self-aware, and hold yourself accountable, and self-discipline, and routine. And I mean, there's a lot of things I could just keep going on and on, but first thing that comes to my mind is the self-awareness part.
That's great. And I think that's definitely, spoken from somebody that, when I refer to the phrase the CEO who walks the floor, I think you
Yep.
walk the floor, when you're out on the road 6 months out of the year and you're visiting with your customers and you're at the competitions. And yes, it's an intense world, but you've brought incredible value to it. And just circling back to legacy, a couple more questions and then we will wrap.
Yeah.
What values do you get to honor right now? Because I think you are happier today than I've ever seen you.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree in that. At the end of the day, you have to be happy in what you do. And that's my personal belief. I wouldn't be doing any of this if it didn't make me happy at all. Like this makes me genuinely happy. I love to work. I love to create. I love to build. Um, so all this that I'm doing, first and foremost, I have a love and a passion for it. So it's fun to me. being on the road and doing all that, as you're saying, walking the floor and all that. I love all that. So to me, it's, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
So it's you have to enjoy life. I mean, none of us know how long we're going to be here. So to me personally, you have to enjoy every single day. If you're not doing something, if you go too many days in a row doing something you don't enjoy, I think that's when you got to like check yourself and be like, okay, what am I doing?
Yeah. And I'd like to extend the compliment. My husband said that you are a real entrepreneur because you created something with your hands and you brought it to the marketplace. And you're not a chief executive officer that's hiding behind a corner office, or, you're out there. Like I said before, you're walking the floor and you've got your, your ear to the ground metaphorically to really understand what does your customer need, what do they want, and then being able to deliver it to them with like, the most premium supplies and materials and technology and design and advancement. I mean, you're surrounded by some really great partners, whether it's your CFO, your attorney, and just bringing that creativity to the forefront, month after month, making your product and expanding your product line. In fact, even beyond where you've started, but I just think you're just growing exponentially. So it sounds like you get to honor the values of integrity and fun. And
I'm like I said, when you're talking about our team, if you put all of our team together, I'm the dumbest person in the room. That's just the way I like it. So if I'm the smartest person in the room, we're in trouble.
Yeah, which is a very secure person. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just, I mean, because I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at. And I know how to bring people together that are good at what they do. And the roles that we have, like our CFO and our legal team and our athletes and all those roles, positions on the field, if you will, that they're playing are the best at their field. And everybody doing their job and playing their part is how collectively we win.
Yeah. It reminds me of a verse about how iron sharpens iron. And
Yeah.
all of your strengths, all of your talents are just in an upward spiral, propelling you higher. And, it's good stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
And as a 42-year-old who is building his kingdom, building his legacy, is there anything in particular that would help you when you are defining, developing, and executing your legacy? And I just want to have this to be an open conversation. So, because maybe there's someone else who's in their 40, that 40 decade, and they could go, yeah, that would be useful also.
I don't know. I would say just you have to find what like what gets you going in the morning.
Okay.
Like what keeps you up at night and what gets you up in the morning are the same thing.
Yeah. Good stuff. Good stuff. Would you like to add anything to that?
Just finding those and I mean, it's at least for my opinion, it's better to take a shot and miss and know that you at least took a shot than there and constantly say like, oh, I could have done that, or I could have done. It's like, well, did you? Like, it's better to do it and maybe miss the shot than to not take the shot at all.
Yeah. Good sound advice. Because definitely I think sometimes people, they can worry about do I look bad? Will I look bad? And they just need to take the darn shot. Yeah.
Look at me. Look at my face. I look bad all the time. So you shouldn't be worried about looking bad.
Well, I think you're a master at your craft. So yeah. But then again, when the designers at the New York fashion shows come out, they let the supermodels be the supermodels, and then they're the brains behind the project.
I don't think we'll ever be on a New York runway. I think we'll be more like a lake in Alabama. But
yeah. Well, I think it's wonderful, again, just to wrap up, that your products are being shipped to Australia and locations all around the world, and you're building your pro angler team and supporting different athletes. And I had never realized how much of a competitive sport this bass fishing world is. I just want to close with this, that it requires an immense amount of concentration. And if somebody is wet or shaking, all of those things can affect their performance because, when they're competing, they've got their boat and they've got to go, from point A and then maybe 7-8 miles per hour to point B. And so it's a very intense, those competitions are very intense. And I think you're very much enabling a group of people, empowering them to just be better than where they're at. And so kudos to you for bringing that to the marketplace.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. You can only be the first man on the moon once. And we were the first company to figure out the proper water column rating that bass anglers need. And we were the first one to figure that out. And still to this day, no other brand has figured that out. So that's something that we're able to really, it's changing the way that these guys are able to perform out on the water, and they're able to perform at their highest level, and we're able to be a part of that. And it's very exciting.
So can you show the rain jacket, or is it next to you right now?
Yeah, I'm actually in the shipping room / area right now. Yeah, I can grab one for you real quick. Hold on.
Okay. And while he's doing that, I'll just fill in some time, and I'll mention that the hoods are called full throttle hoods, which is special language, which means that every hood is specially fitted. It's not just one size fits all. Again, regarding some of the bespoke features and benefits of these products to go above and beyond. And also the label isn't tacked everywhere, so the bass fishers don't feel like they're one of those NASCAR drivers that are wearing 15 different sponsored logos. And
so here's the, kind of hard to see maybe, but here's our jacket.
We can see it. Great.
And, so this is our reservoir rain shell jacket, and there's a set of bibs that come with it. This is our reservoir rain shell jacket. Here's the T-zip master seal zipper, the NASA zipper you were talking about earlier. That full throttle hood you were just talking about.
Hashtag NASA.
our iron shell material. This is an amazing jacket for anybody who's it's designed for bass anglers. That's one of our taglines, is built for bass.
Yeah.
Yet we've sold jackets to people who are competing in equestrian events. We've sold people who are cross-country motorcycle riders. We've sold jackets to people who are commercial fishermen. We've sold people jackets to a wide range of things that go outside of our sport for people who are like, I don't want to be wet. So it's been really exciting to see the versatility of it, especially considering that we made this and we're focused on bass fishing. Yet it's really cool to be able to see just where it's able to go.
Yeah. And fishermen in Alaska even love the product. So it exceeds and goes outside of just the bass fishers. So thank you so much, Will. And any final thoughts about the softer side of legacy planning, as you are, somebody that I deem to be a self-made success, and you're definitely changing an industry for the better. And you're so humble, but yet, you're very determined as, a business warrior in your industry and field.
I appreciate it. And thank you for having me on. Good seeing you. My last words just be, I don't know, just get to work. I don't know.
Good. All right. And on that note, thank you to the viewers and to the listeners for watching. Please check us out on SoundCloud as well as Apple Podcasts. And please like, subscribe, and share with your family and friends. Thank you so much for joining, and thank you, Will.
Thank you. Bye.